My name is Michael Lu, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to come here to meet with you people. I sure hope, this course or class turn out to be, in the end, that will be beneficial to both you and myself. Okay, I expect that you can learn something from things to be discussed in the future, and also I sure hope that I can learn something from you, knowing that you've been working as some of them, most of them, working as government officials for quite some time, so that you must have lots of experience or on-the-job experience to share with myself as well as the rest of the classmates, which I sure hope that will, in the end, help you to strengthen your power or ability to negotiate when the time comes that you have to step out to meet with your business colleagues or business counterparts from foreign countries. And maybe you've been required to cut a deal with your business counterparts for whatever reasons or for whatever purpose, hopefully for the benefit of the interest of Taiwan as a country. So, but as I understand it, give me a second. The title of this class is Future Trade, the blueprint of international economic and trade system in the age of AI and digital technology, which makes a lot of sense because it has to be something related to the future trade in terms of the topics you will be required to address when it comes to negotiating issues with your business counterparts from another country. So you got to know the things that is happening right now, okay? And you have some idea about the things to happen in the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, economically, militarily, and geopolitically, not only in Asia, but globally as a whole, so that you have some idea to be able to talk to the people that you need to talk to do your job, okay? In terms of this class, there are no requirements. So basically, you can say whatever things you want to say, and you can address any issues you want to talk about. There's no limitations on what you can say or the questions or issues you think that you want to raise, okay? So no problem. In terms of what you're going to say, you don't have to say it 100% in English, but I'll urge you to try to express yourself, okay? If you don't feel comfortable saying everything 100% in English, 30%, it's okay. 50%, it's okay. 90% is even better. But in terms of what you can achieve, okay, or what you can get from this class, it doesn't depend on how much of good English you can say. It's important, but that's not that important. So it is the things that you need to know, okay? If you can say it, the thing is that you have to be able to understand what's being discussed or what's being raised as an issue that we think are important, okay? So in terms of how well you should be able to communicate with myself or rest of the students in the class is that the first thing you have to be able to comprehend. Comprehend it's more than understand. Okay, you understand something, it's not enough. You have to comprehend the question being asked, the issues being raised. But to be able to comprehend, just like the situation maybe you will encounter in the future when you're talking with your business counterparts from, for example, United States, from Japan, from I don't know where, somewhere in Africa, okay? First of all, you have to be able to understand, and then you have to comprehend. And then you have to utilize your knowledge that you have derived, you have received from your job, from this class, to be able to respond. Only if you can comprehend, then you can respond. And the English, so whether you can speak English fluently, that's the third thing that you should care about. The first thing you have to understand, comprehend, then you know how to respond. It doesn't have to be a kind of very well-spoken English. It is important, but really not that important, because some of the people you meet in the future, they may not be Americans. They may not be people who speak English as native language. They could be from someone from Japan. You know, most Japanese, when they speak English, most people simply just don't understand because of their heavy accent. Not to mention people from Australia, okay? It really takes some time to be able to understand. And then I once had the opportunity to talk to or negotiate a deal with a Scottish is British, but in terms of their accent is so heavy, and it's really very hard. Scottish is Scotland. People from Scotland, there's a movie named or titled Highlander, or there's another movie, Braveheart. The movie, I mean, if you know that movie, that means you're over 40. Okay?
I know as well.
I don't know if I should say too good or too bad. I don't know. Like, Braveheart is a movie that talked about Wallace somebody, okay, yeah, who fought with the British, then was captured by the British and was dismembered, tortured and dismembered by the British. A sad story, but in terms of the English that they speak, so hard to understand. So therefore, the key thing is you have to understand. That's the second thing, you have to comprehend. When I say comprehend, you have to not only to understand, you have to be able to read between the lines. Okay? So for that purpose, you need to have enough vocabulary power. So you have to do your job relatively well, I think. You need to be able to memorize, I would say, at least 10,000 words. I mean, if you can't do it, then maybe 5,000, 8,000 can do the job. But you get the picture. You have to have that vocabulary power so that when people say this word, you'll know what they're talking about. And the second thing, when it comes to oral communication, the key is idiom. Especially when you are talking to an American. Americans simply love idioms. Let's do it. That's so that we can cut the mustard. What does that mean? I'm asking a question not because I'm expecting a correct answer from you. I'm expecting your response as you may have to do next time when you see an English-speaking person. Okay, I don't know. That sounds strange. What do you mean when you say, let's have to cut the mustard? Let's do something together. Let's make it happen. Just cut the mustard. 你要切那个 mustard 是什么？芥末，对对。所以你 especially when you communicating with American, not only you have to have enough vocabulary power, you also has to have some power about some knowledge about the idioms that they use, so that you will not miss the forest for the tree. 不会见树不见林，所以 is it easy? No, it's very difficult. It's not going to be easy. It takes years. Okay, years. So you every now and then you have to check your dictionary. You have to check your Google to understand what do they mean when they say, don't miss the forest for the tree. When things like that. So I just want to repeat what I have already said. The thing for you to be able to achieve, hopefully from this class, is that you have to be able to understand, and you have to be able to come, then you have to be able to respond. Okay? Then before you can do that, you have to have enough vocabulary power, and then you have to have some idea about the idioms, okay, that are being used by the Americans so frequently. So if you miss what they say, you just have to ask them, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Let's say there's just too many of them. Okay. So what do you think about what she says? Okay, she is still sitting on the fence. What does that mean? Sitting on the fence, 坐在那个篱笆上。 she hasn't made up her mind yet. No decision has been made. 他就会讲 sitting on the fence. Okay, so just idioms. Okay, 譬如说 okay, what has he done in that particular class? So someone says she is still behind the curve. 其实都是很简单。你没有 catch that, you just understand what she or he is talking about. Behind the curve, he's falling behind. 他就是落後而已. Okay. So much for our opening statement. Okay. About myself, I went to Soochow University. I went to Soochow Law School, and then after that, I went to graduate school for Foreign Affairs and Diplomacy, International Law and Diplomacy, 就是外交研究所 of Chenji University, so that was altogether 8 years, because in Soochow Law School, I spent 5 years, another 3 years with Chenji University. And after that, I went to the military as required. And after I finished my military, I was already 29. So I just spent a lot of time in different schools doing what I have no idea. Okay. After that, I spent another year at Cornell University to do a LLM program, and it took me 1 year. And then I finished that. I went to Washington, D.C. to go to American University. There is someone who I think went to a university here. I think no. He or she is not here. That's okay. Oh, so you went to American University, a School of International Service. Is that right? That's okay. Yes. I'm just so we can talk more if occasions come up. So then another 3 years at American University doing my second law degree. But so that's but that's not important. That's not important. The important thing is that I've done altogether 30 years. Before I retired the last year, for the first 10 years, I went to Baker McKenzie to work as a lawyer. In terms of the cases I handled with Baker McKenzie, basically was commercial, investment, trade, all those cases, contracts, negotiations, drafting, get the job done, cutting the mustard. Yes, that's what they say. And then that's 10 years. For my second 10 years, I went to Hsinchu to go to different technology companies to work as their legal in-house lawyer. I went to TSMC, I went to AUO, I also went to 台达电, 叫什么? Delta, yes, Delta. And I also went to CyberLink for 3 years as their general counsel. CyberLink 是训练. So I have some experience working with, for example, a semiconductor company. AUO, that's panel. That they just call it panel company. And I also have experience working with Delta. They basically do everything. Okay, everything. And then CyberLink, that's software. So, and then that's 20 years. For my last 10 years, I went to China. I worked for a mobile phone company. Okay, for another 10 years. So altogether 30 years. Okay, I returned to Taiwan the year before, I don't know, 2020. Okay, and I worked here for another year for that mobile phone company for another year remote. Okay, then until it was 2021, then I retired from that company. I went to work with a medium-sized law firm for another year. And after that, I became retired. So that's basically my entire career. So in terms of what I can share with you, I think in terms of the things you're going to do and the purpose for which you come to this class. I think some of my negotiation experience and some of my experience getting from all these technology companies in terms of what's happening right now and what will happen in the 5 years and 10 years, or 5 years or 10 years from now, which I have no idea. When I worked as a lawyer, I really didn't know anything about economics. Okay, I didn't know anything about trades. I didn't know too much about inflation, deflation, things that have been hardly discussed recently, no matter on YouTube channels. Okay, just pick up any YouTube films that you have, when you have time to take a look. There's just all kinds of talks about all the economic things, about the financial things, about the conflict between China and the U.S. right now, and maybe in the future, and whether or not there's a possibility of war 2 months from now. So those things, I didn't know anything until recently, which I became interested in, which I think that will help you a lot, okay? If you pay some attention to some of the things being understand and comprehend what is being actually said in the film. And now we are going to show you the film. And I'll pause it anytime when I feel necessary to get some feedback from you. So don't worry about the question or issue that I raised. I'm not expecting you to come up with a correct answer. That is not important. The important thing is that you can keep the momentum going on and on and on, so that everyone will be, to a certain degree, aroused by our discussion, so that everybody can be benefited to a certain degree. And this is what we call Socratic questioning. There are no correct answers to the questions that I raised. The key thing is that you'll be able to participate in the discussion and come up with your opinion or your perspective. It doesn't have to be correct. You may come up with the things that is on your mind, just like that. You don't have to think too much, saying that, hey, maybe this is not the right thing to say, or that maybe could be the wrong thing to say. There's no such issue. So don't worry about it. Just take a look at the film and ready yourself for the questions I'm going to raise every now and then, which I hope will not bother you too much in terms of your concentration that you need to complete the film. Complete the film. Thank you.
The changing world order. The times ahead will be radically different from those that we've experienced in our lifetimes, though similar to many times before. How do I know that? Because they always have been. Over my roughly 50 years of global macroeconomic investing,
What is macroeconomics? Maybe I should ask that lady. Don't worry. Or you say, I'm not worried. I just don't want to answer your question. I don't like your face, perhaps. What is macroeconomics?
It's Chinese or English?
Whatever you want. Your wish is my command. So don't worry about it, okay? So like I said, 30%, 50%, I prefer even 100% Chinese. That's okay. Macroeconomics. You see things as a general, from a general scope or from a general perspective, not microeconomics. So you think in a broad perspective. So when I say you understand this macroeconomics, that means you understand the whole picture. Yeah, so good. So you have this gentleman helping you in terms of your Common. I prefer common. Okay. So said that the stock market rise. I mean, based on the expectation, of course. Based on the expectation of what?
The money, the dollars is linked with the gold, so people have to spend money on market.
Correct, because people, I mean, all those people who are playing on the stock market, they would expect that there will be more dollars to be released or come out. So there will be more money in the market, okay? There will be more money. Where will those money go after being released from the government or by the government? This simple economics is not difficult at all, because there's too much money on the market. So what will people do with it? They use the money to buy houses, buy their properties, buy bonds, they buy stock. If it goes out there to buy the stock on the stock market, after the money has been released more and more on the market, the stock price will go up. That's what happened also 2 years ago after the pandemic occurred, when the U.S. government started printing more money or releasing more U.S. dollars onto the market, so that the U.S. stock market went up and up and up. I don't know, before that, Dow Jones was 10,000 now, or 2 years after that, it went up to 30,000. If I remember correctly, because I'm away from the stock market, okay? I've learned my lesson, so I don't know too much about it, but I know in terms of the data being shown that Dow Jones, what else? NASDAQ, and there's some 费城半导体, they all went up by triple, not only by double, by triple. So why? Because there's just too much money, and people simply want, when they have too much money and the interest rate so low, they just need to spend it. Okay, they spend it, yeah, on the real estate, 就是不动产, especially on the market, on the bond market, so everybody went out there to buy, so that the stock market go up. So it's simple economics. Are there any people who want to 补充一下? The idea is simple. It's not difficult. But it will become a little bit difficult in the sense if we have to think about not only more money being released or more money being printed, and then the interest, the ups and downs of the interest rate, and so on and so forth. Then it becomes something that worth your while to think about when there's a sign, or a sign, what do you say? A sign being revealed by the U.S. government, just like what Nixon had to say in 1971 when he canceled the convertibility between the U.S. dollars and gold. Okay, so next time, you don't know, or maybe 2 years from now, maybe 3 years from now, when I think you guys will be able to see it, to repeat the history to repeat itself 3 or 5 years from now. I don't know whether I will be able to see it, but next time when I see that the Federal Reserve of the United States, hey, the market is too low, then we have right now in a recession, so that we have to lower down our interest rate, then no, I know what will happen. What do you think that will happen next time when the U.S. Federal Reserve lowers down the interest rate? Feel your intelligence in this room. Fill this room with your intelligence and sharing your interest, your experience with the rest of the people in this room, including my friend Qian Yu. 我就趁你不注意，我就提到你的名字。所以 next time, if you hear, hey, the chairman of the U.S. Federal Reserve saying that, hey, from now on, we're going to raise the interest rate, what do you think will happen after that? I don't know, man. You will know the answer, okay, in a little while. When the government is doing the thing, it's printing more and more money, and we have already discussed that the first thing you will see is that the stock market will go up, okay? But also that means inflation will sure come up in no time, because more money you have released, the more money that you have come out, that means the value of the money will go down, which 9 out of 10 will cause the inflation to come up. That means that's what's happening in the United States, in Europe, and then perhaps to a certain degree in Taiwan, right? Because money is worth not as much anymore. Okay, it's only worth, I would say, 2/3 perhaps in Taiwan. Okay, so that means because you spend too much, you spend too much, you owe too much debt. Therefore, you have to come up with more money to pay off the debt. Otherwise, you will default. But no government will want to do that, because if you default on a debt, that means the government could go bankrupt. But it actually happened to Iceland in 2008. But they have resolved their issues. Okay, long and behold, which is not an easy thing to do. Okay, but so most government will want to print more money to pay for their debts. But the problem is, the more that they come up with the value of the money will go down, so that you will come up with the inflation that the guy will be talking about in a little while. Go ahead. It's an emerging power. When you have time to, you may give some thought about, how about India? So there are 8 parameters. So you think, I think in the next 10 years, will India be a power to arise? Or India is now an emerging power based on the 8 factors that the author mentions, for example, education. What do you think, ma'am?
I think the size of the economy is large enough. I recently read that it's going to take down England, the UK, to be the 3rd largest economy in the near future.
India.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's but in terms of other indicators, I'm not sure. Well, to take the last one, the reserve status, I don't think.
It will never happen.
Right.
Okay, just tell, again, fill this room with your intelligence by saying, hey, it's not going to happen. Just say it. Don't worry about it, because there's, as I mentioned to you, there's no correct or incorrect answer in this room.
Well, at least I don't expect it to see it in my lifetime.
Okay, that means, okay, I think I understand. Okay. In my life, it's not going to happen. Is that a cold air in hell? 就是不会发生在地狱里面的冷空气。It's cold air in hell. Cold air in hell. It's not going to happen. Okay, go ahead.
Right. So, the other ones, medical centers, I don't recall any.
But people are saying Indians are smart. They are very good at mathematics. They are very good in IT technologies.
Yes, I think India may perform quite well in other indicators like education, innovation, technology. But
Innovation and technology. Okay, you give India a plus. Okay, good.
I will. But for the others, I don't think it's performing as well as the others.
Yeah. How about you, sir? Okay. Yeah. 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 And who else has any comment to make? Let's say India. Let's say Indochina. No. Indonesia. How about Indonesia? Indonesia actually is full of mineral resources, full of people. And actually, it's in terms of its size, it's quite large.
But I think apart from these 8 factors, I think later on the author presents some other indicators like corruption, like the index of corruption, because I think the author later mentioned that
So you're saying Indonesian government is not that efficient in the sense that they don't have 清廉我也都不英文我都不会讲 okay they have efficient officials they don't have enough officials to get the job done so that the company or so that the country and the government becomes competitive worldwide in terms of the world trade to be engaged. Okay, go ahead.
So I think, I'm not sure about the equation, but I think, yeah, when the author is going to measure the power of the country, I think there are more than these 8 factors to.
Yeah, so I'm asking this question, it's just saying that this is something you may worth your while to think about when you want to talk to a representative from a specific country, such as Japan. Is Japan, in terms of its national power, is it an emerging power? It is a power on the top, or it is a declining power? Or let's say it's Japan. Okay, if that's the case, after you have made your decision on the status of the country of which the representative that you are talking to, then you will have some idea about what exactly your business counterpart will want to negotiate. If you have some idea, okay, it's going to be a general idea, it's going to be a vague idea, but at least you have some idea on what point you need to insist to make a deal, on a certain point, at the point that you need to compromise to make a deal. Japan, India, Indonesia, or even the Philippines. Okay, so but these things I think will help. Okay, to get your feet wet. Get your feet wet before you start talking to other people. Okay, I sure hope that will help. Are there any other comments to make? If not, let's go ahead.